The House Oversight Committee released never-before-seen emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate.
And they found some correspondence directly mentioning Donald Trump by name.
354 days away from the midterms, the government is officially open, and the House picked up right where they left off with the Epstein file.
The most searched word across Google, YouTube, and every social site right now is Epstein. Everyone is trying to understand why thousands of files suddenly dropped into the public space and why the political class looks like it got hit by a tidal wave. I am not surprised at all. You do not get this level of panic unless people fear what might come out.
Now look, Jeffrey Epstein, it was a manipulative monster.
The government reopened after the shutdown, and Washington fell straight into chaos the moment the Epstein vote landed on the schedule. You can feel the anxiety everywhere. The story is not about Democrats or Republicans. It is about a system that kept predators safe while victims were left to rebuild their lives alone.
Important evidence that people trying to understand what Donald Trump's relationship.
The reactions inside the White House look strange.
But for the second day in a row, the president did not take questions after a signing event. Highly unusual for this president.
Yes, exactly. Trump stopped taking questions. He shut down press access. He pulled Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her. This is not the behavior of someone who feels calm.
They met with her to address her concerns. Why did Lauren Boebert have concerns regarding the FBI and the Attorney General in regards to the Epstein vote?
This is the behavior of someone who wants to keep a lid on something. The country is tired of this secrecy. People want transparency. People want to know who enabled Epstein, who covered for him, and who helped him operate for so long. The survivors of Epstein's network deserve answers. The first spark in this new wave of outrage came from Democrats. They released 3 Epstein emails.
The first one was between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein back in 2011, where Epstein wrote that Donald Trump spent hours at my house with an unnamed victim of sex trafficking, whose name is redacted in the email.
Designed to cause noise without revealing the full picture.
And Epstein referred to Trump as the dog that hasn't barked.
One of the emails included the line, "The dog that has not barked is Trump." That line was crafted to make people think Trump was directly tied to a victim. They removed the victim's name. They removed context. They turned a real survivor into a political device.
That Donald Trump, quote, knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. And then the Democrats cite another email with Wolf in 2015, where Epstein and Wolf are discussing if they can craft an answer for an upcoming Donald Trump interview. And Wolf sort of suggests that Epstein has leverage over Donald Trump.
They dropped these emails during the shutdown because it created maximum damage at a moment when the administration already looked weak. They did not care about the impact on the victim whose name they hid.
Sure. The Democrats believe there are more to come from these emails that have been released by the Epstein estate, John.
Republicans answered with a counterstrike that looked just as reckless. They dumped more than 20,000 Epstein-related files into the public. They unredacted the same emails Democrats had released. They exposed the victim's name. They presented it as a victory. They insisted that Democrats misled the public by hiding that the victim never accused Trump.
In those emails and elsewhere in the files, and in fact, we know that Trump was told that his name was in the quote-unquote Epstein files, the unreleased information from the Justice Department. Again, we've always been told that there's nothing in that material that incriminates others to the point where they should have been charged.
What they did not acknowledge is that releasing her name without consent is an act of harm on its own. They stripped a survivor of privacy to score points. Inside those emails, we see a long list of contradictions that no one in power seems eager to explain. Epstein told someone that Trump never received a massage, and that he avoided anything inappropriate.
As he's tried to avoid repeatedly, as we've seen them try to do procedurally, not to have any sort of amendments to release for a vote to release the Epstein files. So now it's going to happen. We expect it to happen early next week.
Yet in the same conversations, Epstein said Trump knew about the girls. Epstein also claimed Trump asked Ghislaine Maxwell to stop recruiting victims. That detail alone raises serious questions, because Maxwell somehow managed to receive special treatment that no one else in her situation ever gets. And yeah, if you do not know about the story of Maxwell, Let me break everything down for you because this part of the scandal exposes the real sickness inside the system. Ghislaine Maxwell is a convicted trafficker, sentenced in 2022 for recruiting minors for Jeffrey Epstein. She is supposed to be in a federal prison that reflects the severity of her crimes, yet she sits in the federal prison Camp Bryan in Texas, a low-security facility known for its lenient environment. Reports from inside the camp describe a life that looks nothing like incarceration. Staff members talk about how Maxwell receives hand-delivered care, special treatment, and direct access to things no one in her position ever gets. One report even mentioned she was given a puppy while survivors still deal with lifelong trauma. When a trafficker receives comfort inside a system that should hold her accountable, the question becomes impossible to ignore. What information does she still hold that protects her? She was not just Epstein's partner in crime. She was the gatekeeper who knew names, dates, networks, and internal operations that linked Epstein to global elites. Maxwell gave interviews from prison, including one where she claimed that the infamous photo of Prince Andrew with Virginia Giuffre was fake. Her legal team explored potential pardon avenues, and her connections with Trump allies created suspicion about why she remained confident even after sentencing. Todd Blanche, who represents Trump, gave her a soft interview instead of confronting her with hard questions about trafficking victims. All of these events sit on top of a simple truth. Victims watch the person who helped destroy their lives live more comfortably than they do. This imbalance is not accidental. It exposes how far the system will bend to shield elites from the consequences of their relationships with Epstein.
Later, that President Trump knew about the girls, in quotation marks. That's according to communications released today.
The pattern becomes even clearer when you look at the role of Michael Wolff. Wolff presents himself as a Trump critic. He wrote books portraying himself as a reporter willing to expose powerful figures. Yet the emails released in the 20,000-file GOP dump show a different man. The emails document conversations from 2016 where Wolff asked Epstein what questions he should ask Donald Trump during interviews. He wanted advice on how to push limits without getting thrown out. A journalist asking a trafficker to help him craft interview questions for a presidential candidate tells you everything. Instead of shining a light on Epstein, he became Epstein's advisor and PR fixer. The emails go further. Wolff and Epstein discussed how to manage the release of James Patterson's book Filthy Rich, which came out in October 2016. Epstein worried that Patterson's book would expose him at the wrong moment for his political strategy. Wolff responded by suggesting that Epstein could use Trump as a distraction. He pitched ways for Epstein to frame Trump's comments as political cover. He even offered to help if accusers resurfaced. This is not journalism. This is collaboration. When someone with Wolff's influence chooses to protect Epstein instead of victims, the entire narrative around media accountability collapses. This is the context behind the current political earthquake. Trump is not panicking because of a single email or a single photo. He is panicking because each drop of information pulls him deeper into the timeline. His approval ratings show the damage clearly. The AP poll from this week shows only 33% of Americans approving his handling of the government. Republican support fell from 81% in March to 68% now. His base is losing patience. They want the files released. They want transparency. They want every name exposed. Trump no longer controls this narrative. He once commanded loyalty from right-wing media, but populist outlets now refuse to shield him because their audiences want the truth more than they want to protect him. For the first time in a long time, Republicans in Congress are not following him. They are breaking ranks. They are siding with transparency because voters demand it. So if you also want the real story without filters, without political teams, and without the nonsense that keeps victims in the dark, then join me here. And make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications because this story is unfolding fast, and I will be here every single day to go through it with you.